Bashar al-Assad fled the country as opposition forces swept across Syria and his own military deserted their posts. In a lengthy statement posted to the Syrian presidency's Telegram account on social media, he is now trying to provide his version of events. He insists that he had no plans to leave the country, that he stayed in the capital Damascus until rebel forces led by the Islamist group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, entered the city. From there, he says he travelled to a Russian airbase north of Damascus, but that base was coming under attack from drones, so he says the Russian military ordered the evacuation to Moscow, where he now resides after being given asylum by the government there, a government which has spent years propping his regime up. Russian planes have been spotted still operating from that airbase in Syria's west, likely withdrawing equipment and potentially personnel, both Russian and Syrian. Now, Bashar al-Assad goes on in this lengthy statement to say that at no point did he consider stepping down from the presidency. This is clearly an attempt by the former dictator to reject suggestions he deserted his country. But he does add that there was little point in him staying in Syria as the institutions of state crumbled around him or were seized by opposition forces, which he describes as terrorists. And the leader of that group, Ahmed al-Assad, has sat down with the UN's Special Envoy for Syria in Damascus to discuss their plans for the future and how the country will rebuild after years of dictatorship and civil war. That's something that many countries are now trying to shape. For example, Turkey and the United States are still backing some of the groups still fighting in parts of Syria, and the US has said that any new government in the country needs to be credible, it needs to be inclusive and non-sectarian. That final point clearly a nod to HTS's Islamist foundations and the concerns about how they will govern in a country with many different groups of many different faiths.